Hello everyone, my name is Gabby, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super review. This time reviewing episode 118. The androids and Goku confront the remaining members of Universe 2, while Gohan and Piccolo confront the Namekians of Universe 6. Both universes pull out their trump cards and powers they didn't even know they could use upon imminent threat of erasure. But at the end, with help from Universe 7, Goku and Gohan both take out their opponents with a Kamehameha. Universe 2 and 6 are eliminated from the tournament and erased. So, what did I like about this episode? Well, to be honest, I liked a lot of things from this episode, but kind of thinking about it, they can all sort of be categorized under one kind of blanket term, blanket idea, and that's just because, this episode made me feel things. A lot of things. So I think the best way to explain this is to categorize all the moments by how they made me feel. First of all, I felt laughter, when the remaining random guys in Universe 2, through the power of love, also end up kind of becoming magical girls, when Android 17 and also Android 18 join in the kind of magical girl villain speeches, and then you have Goku kind of thrust into all these sort of situations and kind of not really understanding it at all, but at least kind of appreciating it. They were like these kind of final genre jokes that got kind of crazy and ridiculous, and it's kind of fitting, and I found them pretty hilarious. Second, I felt pride. Pride mainly for the kind of Gohan and Piccolo sections. In that fight, we had Piccolo kind of lose some of his motivation after sort of realizing just how many Namekians had been absorbed by the other Namekians, and actually being in a kind of compromising situation because of that, until Gohan steps in and helps Piccolo, saves Piccolo, and kind of gives him the inspiration to continue fighting. Not only was this moment cool because it was a reversal of the usual kind of Piccolo saves Gohan trope that has been used and basically overused by Toei for years and years and years, it was cool because we got to see these characters in a different light, in this kind of different situation. A moment where Piccolo is the one who's weakened and doesn't really know what to do, and it's Gohan who's the one who's saving him. I don't think the series has ever used Gohan like this, as this sort of beacon of hope that kind of inspires everyone, as well as also being a really good and competent fighter in his own right. I swear, it's like he's the sun. I can't look at him too directly because it's so unbelievably cool. I'm gonna get eye damage. And even on Piccolo's front, when he's at his low point, he kind of sees Nail and Kami in his head kind of inspiring him, kind of showing him Gohan saving him, sort of showing him what's important. And that's so cool because it's not even just a fun sort of throwback moment to the fact that Piccolo has also absorbed Namekians, it also kind of reveals stuff about his character and kind of shows us a bit more, and it's kind of subtle. Other anime have that moment where the character is down and they kind of start hallucinating or sort of seeing things in their head, seeing kind of symbolic stuff that kind of gives them the strength to stand back up, but Dragon Ball doing that doesn't normally do that. It's really cool. And this episode also made me feel sadness. Sad for the erasures of Universe 2 and Universe 6. Obviously, it's a really big deal to kind of introduce these characters, make them kind of likable in a way, and then eventually just kind of unceremoniously just kill them all off. But that's not immediately going to make me feel something, feel as much as the way that they handled it in this episode. With Universe 2's erasure, we have them go out by kind of thanking everyone for their support and sort of waving goodbye. In this almost kind of fourth wall breaking, sort of addressing the audience kind of thing. It almost felt like the characters in Universe 2 were kind of self-aware, and this whole sort of speech they made before they got erased was sort of oh yeah, I mean, we know that we have to go, we know that we're probably not going to come back to this series, but we're just really glad that we got to be a part of this story in the first place, and thanks all for watching, and we hope you had fun watching us. And with Universe 6, we had them get erased by having us sort of see the interactions that they all have with each other. Cauliflower running after the Namekians, Kale holding her hand, Kaba saying goodbye to Vegeta, Hit kind of being stoic, and Champa going out exactly like you'd expect Champa would, by teasing Beerus. And can we just talk about Beerus' reaction to Champa's death? It wasn't overblown, it wasn't ridiculously dramatic. All he really needed to say was one sentence, and that one sentence was perhaps the realest thing I think this series has done so far. All Beerus said was, say something. Because Champa got erased without any kind of words of reconciliation or any kind of closure. He just sort of teased Beerus and then suddenly he disappeared. those words really speak to something that's actually very real, even in real life. The idea that somebody close to you can die without any sort of reconciliation, without any kind of closure. Basically, this episode really made me feel the weight of these characters being gone. And maybe they're going to be wished back at the end of the tournament, who knows? But at the very least, it's very easy to kind of over-dramatize this kind of stuff to the point that it doesn't really feel like it's grounded in any sort of real emotions and you don't really feel anything at all. But the way they handled Universe 2 and 6's erasures, they felt like they were grounded in real emotions, and it did make me feel things. Man, even this review is getting kind of real. As for what I didn't like about this episode, I don't know if this is just me, but something about the idea of the Universe 2 guys also becoming magical girls, and in fact being better magical girls than the actual magical girls, kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. I don't know, it kind of makes it feel like Brienne and the other magical girls' kind of gimmick in the end wasn't really that special, because anyone could have really done that. Anyone could have literally been those characters if they were just kind of desperate enough. Plus the kind of probably accidental implications of essentially just being that, like, yes, so the guys are better at being girls than the actual girls. Maybe that's why it's rubbing me the wrong way. Also related to Universe 2's erasure, they did the thing this episode that I was kind of worried that they were going to do last episode. Is kind of having being Goku kind of being like, well, I guess the power of love is a thing, but I have the power of shonen protagonist spirit, and that's kind of stronger, and that's kind of how he overpowers Universe 2, and that's how he wins. Once again, it's this kind of accidental sort of low-key kind of my genre is better than your genre, and my story is better than your story kind of thing that, once again, probably wasn't intentional, but is sort of rubbing me the wrong way a little bit. So, as for next episode, with Universe 6 and Universe 2 gone, it's going to be Universe 4's chance to shine, as they're finally going to go and use those fighters that have been missing ever since the tournament started. I feel like it's probably going to be a slightly different tone, because compared to Universe 2 and Universe 6, Universe 4 have been presented as pretty much the most sort of villainous of all of the universes. Like, a lot of the characters have been kind of, either being sort of sneaky or using dirty tricks and stuff like that, and the God of Destruction is kind of like that as well. So perhaps even if Universe 4 gets erased, it might not necessarily be the same kind of feelings that we got this episode, which is probably good. I don't think I could have handled another episode with this kind of emotion in it. So that was Dragon Ball Super episode 118. Yeah, no, that episode was really, really good. Even if you kind of discount all of the other random things I was talking about, like, obviously there's kind of just superficial things around this episode I liked. Gohan looked cool, Piccolo looked cool, Goku and the androids looked cool. The fights were all really good. A lot of the original animation in this episode also looked really good and really cool. But like I said, this episode has been elevated to even beyond that because it did things I wasn't expecting it to do, and it made me feel things. And I haven't really felt things like this for this franchise, as in, like, the franchise was trying to do a big emotional moment, and I completely understood and felt that big emotional moment for a very, very long time. I don't know if these emotions are going to be kind of important, or by the end of the tournament they're going to be kind of completely meaningless in the long run, but at the very least, I do appreciate this episode for trying to do these things, and in my opinion, absolutely succeeding in them. So this is Gabby, signing out, and I'll see you all next week. Bye guys!